Followed up later the same day with the blacking.
On the vast savannas of East Africa, there remains community, living almost entirely isolated from the modern world. There are no supermarkets, no large farms, and no food reserves. For the Hadzabe people, each sunrise marks not just the beginning of a new day, it also marks the start of another struggle for survival. As dawn breaks, the hunters begin preparing their bows and arrows for the day's journey. They inspect each bow, carefully crafted from hardwood, gently bending the frame to ensure it remains flexible. The shafts are straightened, while the arrowheads are meticulously sharpened to improve accuracy. Then, the hunters coat the arrows with poison from native plants, a traditional method used to weaken prey after an attack. For the Hadzabe people, preparing their weapons was not merely a routine task. It was an essential part of the hunt, a part that could directly determine the success or failure of the entire expedition. Once everything was ready, the hunters left the camp and ventured deeper into the arid wilderness. They walked slowly, constantly observing the ground for signs of prey. Soon, one of the hunters noticed some fresh footprints in the sand. The soil was churned up, and the strange smell indicated that a wild boar had recently passed through the area. The whole group immediately crouched low, fell silent, and began to follow the direction of the footprints. Every step was taken carefully to avoid startling the animal. The hunters also stood downwind, so their scent wouldn't be carried by the wind toward the prey. However, before anyone could draw their bow, they had to pinpoint the exact location where the animal was hiding. After several hours of following new footprints in the dry ground, the hunters finally spotted a herd of wild boars grazing in the distance. They kept their distance and began to approach silently, careful not to startle the animals and cause them to flee. A hunter slowly drew his bow and shot an arrow at his target. The wild boar was hit and immediately fled, forcing the hunters to continue tracking it. After a long chase, the poison on the arrow began to take effect, and the animal gradually lost strength. Finally, the hunters achieved their goal, ending a long and arduous chase. But the search for food didn't stop there. After the hunt, the group dispersed to search for other food sources to make their dinner more varied. They gathered seasonal wild fruits and carefully checked large tree hollows for signs of bees. Upon discovering a beehive hidden deep inside an ancient tree, they lit a small fire and used the smoke to drive the bees away. After the bees dispersed, they carefully harvested each piece of the golden honey. The honey and wild berries were then brought back to the camp, shared among the group, and eaten with the meat they had gathered. In this way, the meal not only became more filling, but also richer in natural sweetness and valuable nutrients for the entire community. As the sun began to set below the horizon, the hunters brought their prey back to camp. Everyone quickly gathered to clean the animal and divide the meat into appropriate portions. Before long, the aroma of grilled meat filled the camp, mingling with cheerful conversations and laughter. Once the food was cooked, portions were passed from person to person so that the elderly, children, and every family could share the meal. Once again, a simple meal became a bonding moment, allowing the entire community to share the fruits of a long day in the wilderness. In an increasingly materialistic world, the lives of these hunters remind us of the ancient connection between humans and nature. They do not rely on inexhaustible supplies, and they continue to show respect for both the animals they hunt and the land that has sustained their community for generations. Each successful hunt not only provides food, but also demonstrates the value of human knowledge, patience, and cooperation. These principles have helped the Hadzabe people survive countless changes over time, making them one of the few remaining hunter-gatherer communities in the world. Before dawn broke on the horizon, the small Hadzabe encampment on the arid steppe of northern Tanzania began to stir. The men quietly inspected their bows, straightened each arrow, and strapped small axes to their belts. Today, they will venture deeper into the territory of predators, where lion footprints are often seen along with troops of baboons searching for food. For the Hadzabe people, every sign carries a clear meaning. A recently broken branch might indicate a large animal has just passed by. Trampled grass might point to the direction of travel of an entire herd of livestock. Then, deep, round footprints appeared on the soft ground. No claw marks were visible. The group stopped. A male lion passed through here not long ago. The hunters communicated with each other only through eye contact and brief hand signals. Lions were no ordinary prey. A single mistake could quickly turn the hunter into the hunted. However, this predator had repeatedly appeared near the camp, preventing women and children from venturing far in search of tubers, fruits, and honey. The Hadzabe people did not seek confrontation merely to prove their bravery. They acted when the presence of the predator began to threaten the safety of the entire community. After nearly 2 hours of tracking, the hunters finally spotted the lion. Its black mane emerged from the yellow grass. The animal lay motionless, but its ears twitched constantly, listening for the slightest sound. The men dispersed in different directions, keeping a safe distance to avoid detection. As the lion stood up, an arrow suddenly flew and struck in the shoulder. Its roar echoed across the steppe, making the entire landscape seem to tremble. The lion turned and darted to the bushes at breakneck speed. 2 more arrows flew towards it as it got closer. The confrontation lasted only a few moments, but each second seemed to drag on endlessly. Finally, the lion slowed down, staggered, and collapsed in the open field. There were no cheers. The hunters simply stood still, breathing deeply and observing carefully for a long time before moving closer. Then, the resounding howls of a troop of baboons echoed from the cliffs ahead. They were moving down to the lower ground in search of roots, berries, and insects. Baboons are an important food source for the Hadzabe people, but they are also among the most vigilant prey in the area. They often hide in high places, ready to sound the alarm at the first sign of danger. The hunters circle the hillside, using rocks and bushes for cover. They move so slowly that they made almost no sound. When an adult baboon separates from the troop and approaches the base of the tree, the hunter in front slowly draws his bow. The arrow left the bowstring, flew through the narrow gap between two bushes, and hit its target. The entire herd immediately let out a collective cry of alarm and fled towards Cliff, leaving the animal that had fallen amidst the dry leaves. The second hunt concluded after hours of careful and patient observation. When the hunters returned to camp, the women and children ran out to greet them. A new fire was lit, and smoke slowly drifted above the simple huts. The meat was cleaned, divided into portions, and placed on branches above the fire. No one asked which part belonged to the one who shot the first arrow. The reward of the hunt belonged to everyone, from the men who had ventured into the dangerous wilderness to the children waiting by the campfire. Amidst laughter, the smell of smoke, and the fading sunset over the steppe, one truth became clear. The Hadzabe people did not survive by dominating nature. They persevere because they understand their own limitations. They know when to be patient, when to observe, and when to act.
In a landscape where humans are not always the dominant predator, survival depends on skill rather than technology. Even today, some indigenous communities venture into the wilderness armed with little more than handcrafted bows, simple arrows, and generations of hard-earned knowledge. Every hunt is a lesson in reading the land, understanding animal behavior, and respecting the dangers hidden within the African bush. As the first light of dawn spreads across the landscape, the hunters quietly leave their camp and disappear into the forest. Conversation is kept to a minimum because even the smallest sound can send prey, running, or alert dangerous predators to their presence. Every step is measured, avoiding dry branches and crunchy leaves that could give them away. Instead of following a familiar trail, they let the forest guide them, studying the ground, the surrounding vegetation, and even the direction of the wind for the slightest sign that an animal has recently passed through. After several miles of careful tracking, the oldest hunter suddenly comes to a stop. Kneeling beside a patch of soft sand, he points to a fresh set of tracks. The rounded paw prints, faint claw marks, and evenly spaced stride leave little room for doubt. A leopard has crossed this path not long ago. The discovery instantly changes the mood. Somewhere nearby, one of Africa's most elusive and dangerous predators could still be watching from the shadows. The discovery immediately changes the hunter's approach. They spread out, slow their pace, and leave enough space between one another to avoid becoming an easy target. Experience has taught them that a leopard is rarely far from a reason to stay in one place. If one has recently passed through, there's a good chance food is nearby and the predator may not be far behind. From that point on, every detail matters. The hunters scan for clues most people would never notice. Blades of grass pressed flat, patches of freshly disturbed soil, and branches still trembling from recent movement. Nearly 2 hours later, their patience pays off. High in the limbs of a large tree, they spot the lifeless body of an antelope. It has been carefully hauled into the branches, a telltale sign that a leopard has claimed its kill and hidden it from scavengers below. Leopards often drag their kills high into the trees, keeping them out of reach of hyenas and other scavengers on the ground. But a hidden meal also means its owner may still be close by. Knowing this, the hunters carefully search every shadow, scanning the thick brush, the bases of nearby trees, and the dense canopy above. In terrain like this, a single careless step or an unexpected sound could trigger a lightning-fast ambush. When the hunters are certain they've closed the distance, one of them slowly raises his bow without breaking the silence. He steadies his aim, draws the string, and releases the arrow. In an instant, the leopard explodes from its hiding place and vanishes into the thick undergrowth. The encounter is over almost as quickly as it began, leaving the hunters with their first successful harvest of the day. As the afternoon wears on and the hunters make their way toward the rocky hills, an eerie chorus drifts across the savanna. The sharp, uneven calls grow louder with each passing moment, leaving little doubt about what's coming. A pack of hyenas is on the move, and they're heading in the hunter's direction. Unlike the solitary leopard, hyenas rely on teamwork to gain the upper hand. They test their opponents with patience, surrounding the area from multiple directions while looking for any sign of hesitation or weakness. Their goal isn't always to fight outright. More often, they wait for the perfect opportunity to snatch an unguarded meal, forcing the hunters to stay alert until the last animal disappears back into the brush. The hunters immediately tighten their formation, standing shoulder to shoulder with their bows ready in every direction. Their eyes remain fixed on the largest hyena, the one leading the pack and searching for an opening. When a bull hyena moves too close and briefly exposes itself, one hunter reacts instantly, raising his bow and preparing to defend the group. The sudden release of the arrow sends the pack into confusion. Some hyenas quickly pull back, while others hesitate and continue testing the hunter's defenses. The men respond with loud shouts, raised weapons, and a powerful show of resistance. Realizing that the hunters will not surrender their food easily, the hyenas abandon their advance and disappear into the surrounding brush. When the hunters finally return to camp, the hard work of the day gives way to a shared celebration. The meat is carefully prepared, roasted over glowing coals, and divided among the families. In this community, success is never measured by individual achievement. The hunter who fired the first arrow or walked the farthest does not claim a larger reward. The food belongs to everyone. As the evening fire crackles, children gather beside the elders, listening closely as stories of the hunt are passed down. Through these moments, they begin learning the skills that have protected their people for generations.
Great video. Hold on. Fighting.
The river seems peaceful, its glassy surface giving away nothing about the predator waiting below. Then, without warning, the calm is shattered. A massive crocodile erupts from the water in a burst of explosive power, striking before its prey has a chance to react. The attack lasts only seconds, but every detail has been carefully orchestrated. Weeks of patient waiting lead to a single, perfectly timed ambush. No movement is wasted. No second is lost. In this world, survival belongs to the predator that knows exactly when to strike. Beneath the surface, The river becomes the crocodile's domain. Each year, the Great Migration sends hundreds of thousands of wildebeest on a journey of more than 500 miles across the East African savanna in search of fresh grazing grounds. Their path inevitably leads to the Serengeti's most dangerous crossings. As countless hooves shake the earth and towering clouds of dust fill the sky, every herd is funneled toward a narrow stretch of water where one of nature's oldest ambush predators is already waiting. If the river belongs to the crocodile, the open plains belong to the lion. An adult male can weigh around 500 pounds and reach bursts of nearly 50 miles per hour, making him one of Africa's most formidable land predators. Across the savanna, his presence commands respect, and few animals willingly challenge him. But every advantage has its limits. At the water's edge, the lion steps into unfamiliar territory, where the crocodile, not the lion, holds the upper hand. For lions, rivers are a necessity, providing fresh water in an often unforgiving landscape. But every trip to the shoreline comes with risk. Hidden beneath the murky surface, Nile crocodiles wait with extraordinary patience, watching for the slightest mistake. Lions and crocodiles rarely set out to confront one another, yet they share the same rivers and watering holes. Sooner or later, their paths are bound to cross. The greatest danger falls on younger, less experienced lions. A curious step, too, close to the water's edge, can bring them within reach of an ambush. Without warning, the river erupts as a crocodile bursts from the shallows, trying to seize its target before it can scramble back to solid ground. The sudden attack sends the pride into immediate alarm. Deep warning roars echo across the riverbank as the adults pull back, keeping a cautious distance from a predator perfectly adapted to hunt in the water. Everything changes when the crocodile leaves the water. On land, the predator loses the advantage that makes it so deadly. Its armored body and powerful build, perfectly suited for ambushes in the river, become a burden on dry ground, reducing its speed and agility. Lions quickly recognize the shift. Using their superior mobility and coordinated movements, they pressure the crocodile toward the shoreline, forcing it back into the environment where it stands the best chance of escape. If the reptile hesitates, it risks becoming the one fighting to survive. Encounters like these reveal one of nature's most enduring lessons. Survival is rarely determined by strength alone. The outcome often depends on who controls the battlefield. A crocodile is nearly unstoppable beneath the surface, while a lion dominates the open plains. Each predator excels in its own world, but the moment it crosses into the other's territory, the odds can change in an instant. Few animals dominate Africa's wetlands, quite like the hippopotamus. A fully grown adult can weigh close to 3,000 pounds, carrying an immense body powered by dense muscle and incredible strength. Its jaws open to nearly 150 degrees, exposing lower canine teeth that can exceed 20 inches in length. Although hippos survive on grass, those oversized teeth are anything but feeding tools. They are formidable weapons, used to defend territory, protect vulnerable calves, and confront any rival bold enough to challenge them. Near the edge of a quiet marsh, a crocodile waits in near-perfect concealment. Most of its body disappears beneath the murky water, leaving only its eyes and nostrils above the surface. From this hidden position, it studies every disturbance, the faintest ripple, the slightest vibration, every movement along the shoreline. Patient and motionless, the predator knows that success depends not on speed, but on timing. Halfway around the world, the story shifts from Africa to the vast wetlands of Brazil's Pantanal, one of the most wildlife-rich ecosystems on Earth. Here, the Nile crocodile is replaced by a smaller relative, the Yacaré caiman. reaching lengths of up to 8 feet and weighing around 120 pounds. These reptiles thrive in rivers, marshes, and seasonally flooded plains, where they rank among the region's top aquatic predators. But even a skilled predator is not always at the top of the food chain. Hidden among the thick vegetation along the riverbanks, another hunter waits for the perfect moment to strike, the jaguar. Unlike lions, which often depend on teamwork and open-ground pursuits, jaguars hunt alone, relying on stealth, patience, and pinpoint accuracy. Equally at home in the water and on land, they are powerful swimmers capable of turning the shoreline into an extension of their hunting territory. Their bite force, estimated at around 1,500 pounds per square inch, and the strongest of any big cat relative to body size, gives them the ability to bring down prey that few other predators would dare challenge. Across the sweeping plains of Africa, the impala has earned its reputation as one of the savanna's most agile survivors. In only a few powerful strides, it can burst past 50 miles per hour, soar more than 10 feet through the air, and pivot sharply enough to leave many predators behind. But its greatest advantage is not simply explosive speed. It is the remarkable stamina that allows it to keep running across vast stretches of open country long after the initial burst of acceleration has faded. African wild dogs have evolved to exploit that very strength. Rather than wasting energy in an all-out sprint from the start, they settle into a relentless, controlled pursuit, matching the impala's pace while steadily draining its endurance. Minute by minute, exhaustion begins to tip the balance. Each sharp turn becomes less precise, every obstacle grows more costly, and even the slightest mistake can transform a successful escape into a fatal ending. Everything changes when a pursuit reaches shallow water. Rather than charging in recklessly, the pack adapts with remarkable coordination. Some dogs race ahead to block the most likely escape route, while others continue applying pressure from behind, gradually steering the impala toward the river's edge. Once in the water, the hunters remain calm and surprisingly efficient, swimming with steady determination as they close the gap. With every passing moment, the impala loses another opportunity to break free until it is driven back onto solid ground, where the pack is ready to finish what it started. The outcome is not decided by overwhelming force or spectacular displays of aggression. It is the result of discipline, patience, and flawless teamwork. Every move is calculated to conserve energy while limiting the prey's choices. In the end, victory belongs not to the animal capable of the greatest burst of speed, but to the hunters who understand the perfect moment and place to bring the chase to an end. Each migration brings a new test for African wild dogs. Vast herds of wildebeest sweep across the plains, and every adult is a formidable opponent, often weighing well over 400 pounds. Their numbers, combined with remarkable stamina and the protection of a tightly coordinated herd, make them among the most difficult prey on the savanna. As long as the formation holds together, finding a vulnerable target is nearly impossible. Once a vulnerable wildebeest has been singled out, the chase unfolds with remarkable patience rather than reckless speed. The pursuit can continue for several miles as the pack settles into a relentless rhythm, taking turns driving the animal forward. By constantly rotating their effort, the hunters maintain steady pressure while denying their target even a brief chance to recover. For the fleeing wildebeest, every stride comes at a growing cost. There's no opportunity to catch its breath, no moment to rebuild the energy slipping away with each passing minute. Meanwhile, the pack remains disciplined, conserving its own strength through seamless teamwork. As exhaustion begins to erode the wildebeest's speed and reactions, the hunters gradually draw closer, tightening their formation until escape becomes increasingly unlikely. The final moments arrive with surprising efficiency. By now, the outcome has been shaped long before the chase reaches its end. The wild dogs do not prevail through overwhelming speed alone. They succeed because they can outlast their prey, maintaining relentless pressure while working together with extraordinary precision from the first stride to the last. That combination of endurance, discipline, and seamless cooperation has made African wild dogs among the most successful hunters on the savanna, with hunting success rates that often exceed 70%. In an ecosystem where every meal demands energy and every mistake carries a cost, survival belongs not only to the strongest or the fastest, but to those who have mastered the art of working as one. Yet even a predator this efficient cannot escape its greatest challenge. Across the savanna, African wild dogs share the landscape with lions, and conflict between the two is almost inevitable. Both rely on many of the same prey species, defend overlapping territories, and are drawn to the same valuable resources. Whenever their paths intersect, whether at a fresh kill, a territorial boundary, or a strategic hunting ground, competition quickly becomes a contest for dominance. When the two predators meet face to face, the advantage almost always belongs to the lion. A single explosive charge can shatter the pack's formation in an instant, turning a well-organized group into scattered individuals. The greatest risk falls on younger wild dogs, which lions often target to reduce future competition and reinforce their dominance over the surrounding territory. For the pack, even a brief lapse in awareness can have devastating consequences. To endure this constant threat, African wild dogs depend on vigilance as much as speed. Every member of the pack remains alert, ready to break away the moment a lion closes the distance. Rather than risking a costly confrontation, they choose mobility and discipline, retreating before the encounter escalates. On the African savanna, survival is not measured by how often a predator stands its ground, but by knowing exactly when to fight, and when protecting the pack is the wiser victory. Hyenas thrive through numbers. In clans that can grow to more than 80 members, every individual contributes to a highly organized social system built for both hunting and defense. Their opportunities extend far beyond the prey they catch themselves. Whenever another predator secures a meal, hyenas are often nearby, watching, waiting, and looking for the right moment to turn someone else's success into their own.
Starts with a charge to stampede prey and reveal weaklings.
When enough clan members gather, even a lioness can find herself under pressure. Rather than rushing in recklessly, the hyenas rely on coordination. Some move in close to distract, while others circle from different directions, forcing their opponent to divide her attention. As the pressure builds, holding onto a meal becomes increasingly difficult. It is a strategy refined through generations, where every hyena plays a role and the strength of the clan becomes greater than the power of any single animal.
Great video as
Years of competition have taught lions that dealing with hyenas is not always about winning a single confrontation. It is often about reducing future challenges. In some cases, lions track scent trails back to hyena den sites. If a den is poorly concealed or left exposed, a sudden approach can disrupt the clan's sense of security, forcing adults to react quickly while young hyenas scatter for cover.
takedown, they have no weapon except their teeth. But they have large premolars for crushing it.
This strategy allows lions to apply pressure beyond the immediate encounter and influence the balance of power over time. Yet when it comes to face-to-face confrontations, the presence of a mature male lion can change everything in an instant. His size, confidence, and reputation alone are often enough to make hyenas reconsider their position. Many standoffs end before they escalate, but when a clan refuses to back down, the cost of pushing too far can be significant.
Violent.
On this occasion, the lions keep control of the prize. Recognizing that the odds have shifted, the hyena clan gradually backs away, choosing patience over unnecessary risk. The contest is over for now, but on the savannah, opportunities are never far away, and experienced predators know when conserving energy is the smartest move. Not every hunter relies on strength in numbers. The leopard follows a different path. Weighing around 130 pounds, it lives a solitary life built on stealth, speed, and precision. Rarely seen unless it wants to be, the leopard often watches the world from high tree branches or rocky outcrops, using elevation as both a lookout point and a refuge from larger predators that roam the plains below. The leopard survives not through size or strength, but through speed, agility, and constant awareness. Its flexible body, keen eyesight, and lightning-fast reflexes allow it to detect danger before it gets too close. When a lion appears, hesitation is not an option. The leopard reacts immediately, exploding into motion and racing toward the nearest tree. Within seconds, it can scale the trunk and place a safe distance between itself and the threat below. Nowhere is this more impressive than in the freezing waters of Antarctica. For seals, a floating ice floe often feels like the safest place in a dangerous sea, just a few feet of ice separating them from the predators below. But orcas don't see ice as a barrier. They see it as a challenge. When a pod spots a seal lounging on an ice floe, 3 to 5 orcas line up side by side and surge forward in perfect sync. Their powerful tail strokes create a massive wave that crashes over the ice, washing the seal straight into the water. If the floe holds firm, the orcas switch strategies instantly, using their massive bodies to rock and destabilize the ice from below until their target loses its footing. What makes this even more remarkable is what happens behind the scenes. Mother orcas often slow the hunt deliberately, giving younger members a front row seat to study every detail, how to form the line, time the wave, and coordinate their movements. In the brutal polar environment, these aren't just hunts, they're living classrooms where survival skills and cultural knowledge are passed down through generations. It's this combination of raw power and patient teaching that has kept orcas thriving as the ocean's most dominant predators for millennia. Along the rugged Patagonia coastline, the line between sea and shore is never still. Every wave reshapes the battlefield. Here, massive sea lions, some tipping the scales at 800 pounds and packed with rich, energy-dense blubber, gather during breeding season. For certain clever orcapods, they become a prized target. Just offshore, dark silhouettes hovered silently beneath the surface, watching and waiting. One wrong move, a young sea lion venturing too far or drifting from the safety of the group, and the calm explodes into action. Using the power of a rising wave, these orcas execute one of nature's most daring hunts, intentional beaching. A massive body surges onto the sand, snatches its prey, then pivots sharply and powers back into deeper water. It's a split-second gamble that demands flawless timing. One small mistake, and the hunter could become stranded. If the sea lion slips away into open water, the orcas shift tactics instantly. They form a tight pincer, cutting off any route back to shore. Every move is synchronized, directed by the pod's experienced matriarch. It's a masterclass in coordinated strategy. Farther north, another epic drama plays out along the gray whale's epic 12,000-mile migration. These ocean giants travel each year from cold northern feeding grounds to the warm lagoons of Mexico, where they give birth. A mother weighing up to 90,000 pounds becomes a living shield for her calf, placing her massive body between her baby and any shadows lurking below. But the ocean's patient predators are never far. Orcas don't rely on brute force or sudden strikes. Instead, they use endurance and cunning, isolating the calf from its mother through hours of calculated pressure in deeper waters. It becomes a grueling test of wills, a mother's fierce instinct versus the relentless teamwork of the orcas. These encounters don't just decide the fate of individual calves. They can shape entire population trends from one season to the next. And then there's the great white shark, one of the ocean's ultimate icons. Growing up to 20 feet long, armed with an incredibly sensitive electroreception system and lightning-fast explosive speed, it commands respect in every stretch of water it patrols. Among those rivals stands the hippopotamus, a giant that commands respect through sheer power. An adult can weigh close to
With a charge
4,000
to
pounds,
stampede prey
making it one of
and
Africa's
reveal
largest
weaklings.
land mammals. While it spends much of its life submerged in rivers and lakes, the hippo is far from vulnerable on land. Beneath its massive frame lies surprising speed and explosive strength, capable of catching unwary predators off guard. Its unusually sensitive skin keeps it closely tied to the water during the hottest hours of the day, turning every trip onto land into a carefully timed journey between feeding grounds
As tough
and the
as it is.
safety of its aquatic
Get
stronghold.
in tight on the buffalo's face.
The instant a lion crosses that invisible line, the encounter changes completely. What had seemed like a slow-moving giant suddenly explodes into action. The hippo pivots with astonishing speed, launching a powerful charge that forces the pride to scatter in every direction. It doesn't have to catch a lion to win the confrontation. Its overwhelming size, explosive acceleration, and crushing momentum are often enough to convince even experienced predators that pressing the attack is simply not worth the risk. The African savanna is a place where confidence can secure survival, but overconfidence can end it in an instant. Every sunrise marks the beginning of another relentless contest for territory, food, and dominance, forcing even the most powerful predators to weigh every decision carefully. Lions have earned their reputation through generations of strength, cooperation, and relentless determination. Yet ruling the grasslands does not guarantee victory in every encounter. Some opponents possess natural advantages so formidable that even the king of the savanna must recognize when caution is the wiser path.
Oh my god, look at this!
A hippo's enormous jaws are more than an intimidating display. They are among the most devastating weapons on the African savanna. Armed with crushing bite force and massive tusk-like canines, a single defensive strike can end a confrontation in an instant. Near the water's edge, where the hippo holds every advantage, even experienced pride understands that persistence can come at an unacceptable cost. Sometimes the smartest decision a predator can make is not to continue the attack, but to recognize when survival depends on walking away. For a hippo, the water is far more than a place to rest. It is the foundation of its entire defense. Every route leading back to the river becomes territory it will protect without hesitation. Beneath the murky surface, where visibility quickly disappears, the giant moves with surprising confidence and control. An animal that appears slow and cumbersome on land can suddenly emerge from the water with remarkable speed, turning what seemed like a safe approach into a dangerous mistake for any predator that ventures too close. Moments like these reveal the true balance of power in the African wilderness. Lions may reign among the continent's apex predators, but even they cannot dominate every encounter. Each species has evolved its own remarkable way of surviving, whether through strength, speed, endurance, or strategy. The greatest hunters understand that survival is measured not only by the battles they win, but also by the wisdom to recognize when a fight is no longer worth the cost. Few predators have been more misunderstood than the spotted hyena. Despite its long-standing reputation as little more than a scavenger, it is actually one of the continent's most capable and efficient hunters. Hyenas live in highly organized clans that can include more than 80 individuals, functioning with a level of coordination rarely seen among large carnivores. Every member has a purpose, and each movement strengthens the collective effort, allowing the clan to compete successfully with predators far larger than any single hyena.
One dogs. Fighting.
Oh man.
High above the landscape, where the horizon seems to merge with the clouds, the eagle reigns as one of nature's most formidable predators. With every powerful beat of its massive wings, it moves through the air with effortless authority, commanding the skies as if they belong to it alone. Its razor-sharp eyesight can detect the slightest movement far below, allowing it to lock onto a target with remarkable precision long before the hunt begins. Then, in an instant, patience gives way to action. The eagle folds its wings and plunges toward the earth with breathtaking speed, transforming gravity into a weapon of perfect control. Within seconds, the gap between hunter and prey vanishes. What moments earlier was a distant speck on the ground is now firmly within its grasp. This is more than a hunt. It is a display of dominance, a reminder that few creatures can match the skill, power, and mastery of the bird that rules the open sky. Mountain goats are built for a world few animals can navigate. Their specialized split hooves allow them to cling to rocky ledges barely wider than their own bodies, while their powerful frames give them the balance and strength needed to survive on near-vertical cliffs. An adult mountain goat can outweigh an eagle several times over, making it a risky and formidable opponent. But in the harsh terrain of the mountains, even the sure-footed can become vulnerable. When a young goat strays too far from the safety of the herd, an opportunity emerges for a predator watching from above. Far below, in the shelter of dense forests, a different challenge awaits. Monkeys are among the most skilled climbers in the animal kingdom, perfectly adapted to life in the treetops. Their lightweight bodies allow them to move effortlessly through a maze of branches, vines, and thick foliage. Traveling in groups high above the forest floor, they leap from tree to tree with impressive confidence, using the dense canopy as both a highway and a shield from danger. Hidden among layers of leaves and tangled branches, they leave few clear opportunities for predators to strike. Yet even in the crowded maze of the forest canopy, the eagle is constantly searching for weakness. It watches patiently from above, waiting for the briefest lapse in attention. A monkey distracted by food or separated from the safety of Across the African savanna, the lion doesn't need to prove its dominance. Its presence alone is enough to change the behavior of everything around it. Herds tighten their ranks, predators become more cautious, and the open plains fall into a silent state of awareness. A single roar can travel for miles, announcing that the ruler of this territory is near. In this world, survival is not measured by who is brave enough to confront a lion.
Violent.
The real question is who can hold their ground when the king of the savannah decides to move forward. When that moment comes, strength, speed, and numbers are often put to the ultimate test. Across the vast grasslands of the southern Serengeti, African wild dogs patrol the open plains with remarkable precision. Weighing around 60 pounds each, they are not the largest predators on the savannah, but they are among the most efficient. Their success comes from teamwork. Every movement is coordinated, every chase carefully executed, turning a pack of individuals into a highly effective hunting force built on speed, endurance, and strategy. Despite sharing the same landscape, lions and wild dogs rarely compete directly for food. Territory, however, is a different matter. When a male lion notices a pack moving through an area under his control, the tension rises immediately. The dogs may be fast and disciplined, but the presence of a lion changes the equation. As the giant predator advances, the pack's tight formation begins to break apart, each member instinctively creating space and preparing for a rapid retreat. When a male lion enters the scene, the wild dogs immediately change their behavior. Rather than standing their ground, they spread out and keep a safe distance, carefully tracking every movement. They understand this. One explosive charge from a lion can turn a tense standoff into a deadly encounter in a matter of seconds.
Oh my god, look at this!
For the lion, the objective goes beyond confrontation. Every advance is a clear message to anyone nearby. This territory is claimed, and its boundaries will be enforced. Under normal circumstances, the lion holds a clear physical advantage. A fully grown male can outweigh a wild dog by 6 or 7 times, giving it unmatched strength in a direct confrontation. But on the savannah, size alone does not determine every outcome. When a lioness is traveling with young cubs, priorities change. Instead of asserting dominance, her focus shifts to keeping her offspring safe and avoiding unnecessary risks. Sensing that hesitation, wild dogs may use their greatest strength, teamwork. Through coordinated movements, quick feints, and constant barking, they can create enough pressure to keep the lioness occupied and force her attention toward protecting her cubs. In these moments, the encounter becomes more than a territorial dispute. It becomes a clash between two very different survival strategies: the lion's raw power versus the wild dog's discipline, coordination, and persistence.
Takedown. They have no weapon except their teeth, but they have large premolars for crushing it.
As the dust settles, the savannah reveals another lesson about survival. Every predator has its place, its strategy, and its limits. Strength alone does not rule this landscape. Success often belongs to those who can work together, adapt quickly, and seize opportunities when they appear. In one intense clip, a jaguar spots a massive caiman gliding across a lake. The big cat silently slips into the water, strikes with lightning speed, and locks its powerful jaws around a reptile. The caiman barely has time to react. Its own formidable bite proves useless. Moments later, the jaguar drags its prize away for a well-earned meal. Another encounter shows a jaguar patrolling infested waters in search of food. A caiman tries to hide underwater, but the cat's sharp eyes catch every movement. One precise bite to the neck paralyzes the caiman instantly, leaving it with zero chance to fight or escape. The lion has earned its place as one of Africa's most respected predators, but not every rival challenges its authority through brute force. Across the savannah, another carnivore has perfected a very different strategy, one built on endurance, discipline, and relentless teamwork rather than raw power. Instead of overwhelming its opponents with a single decisive attack, it applies constant pressure, waiting patiently for the smallest mistake to tip the balance in its favor.
Only the king can keep these threats at bay.